We are officially back from the 2025 National Sports Collectors Convention. What a mouthful there. Say that 3 times fast. But Ricky and I, we are here to share not only our experiences, but our thoughts and our opinions about the National, in addition to other topics that we'll be talking about, such as grading, SGC, specifically PSA. But Ricky, before we dive into anything, as always, we must get the pleasantries out of the way. Good morning, and how are you doing?
Good morning. I am good. The Red Sox are hot.
They lost last night.
Pokemon's hot. Listen, they were just on a 7-game win streak. They're fine.
That is true. That is true. Pokemon's hot, like you mentioned. I agree with that.
Hot. What else? Football's preseason starts this weekend, right?
They had the Hall of Fame game. What was it, last week? But I guess the technical preseason, does start. I think tonight, or at least this weekend. Yeah, I know they do like preseason on Thursday, Friday, leading into the actual season. But yeah, football's here. The hobby supposedly seems alive. That's what people will tell you. I might be the Debbie Downer and say otherwise, but neither here nor there. We have a bunch to talk about, Ricky. And of course, we're going to start with the National. So with the pleasantries officially out of the way, I do want you to kind of take the stage again and just kind of rattle off just your immediate reaction. The last day you walked out of the show, how are you feeling? Felt good? Felt bad? More to be desired? Let's hear it.
Well, I was only able to go Wednesday and Thursday. I think I probably wouldn't have gone Saturday, even if I could, just because it's an absolute jungle Saturdays at big card shows like that. But I had 3 goals in mind, and I was able to do them all within a couple hours of the first day. So I think I did pretty well overall. The 3 goals were the trade with you, sell my Caitlin card, did do, and then just buy more singles. Great, which I was up early building a submission right now, so.
So I can't. Well, was it some of the cards that I had in there? I gave you too. Okay, is that a Lapras? Oh, that is. Okay, I see you. Ooh.
This is what I've just been able to get to so far.
Yeah. And you said you're going with CGC, right?
Well, no, these are going to be PSA.
Yeah.
I have this pile of cards to go through for CGC.
Holy crap.
Just like cheap EXs, full arts, trainers, stuff like that. So, yeah. So I bought singles to grade. I mean, the National, my 3 goals. I mean, the National was cool. There was more Pokemon than last year, but overall, not like an overwhelming amount. It was obviously still like at least 90% support. There were a couple tables would have like a couple Pokemon slabs just to try to get into the market.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell they would just like buy random Pokemon without really knowing too much about it. But it was huge. It was kind of confusing. I got lost a couple times just walking around in circles.
You and I both. That's for sure.
Do I feel from what I saw, some of the dealers were decently priced. You could tell a lot of them had the price tags on for a while, and whether it was still up or down, whether it was up or down for the price tag, I still kind of honored that tag, at least from my experiences. So, yeah, I feel like it wasn't too bad. But again, I was only there for 2 days, so.
It's funny you mentioned like kind of vendors just kind of into the whole Pokemon thing, like kind of like randomly. Where like Mrs. Murph and I was just at we were at Mystic Village in Connecticut, and there was this random store random shop that had this nice big Pokemon cards sold here sign. I'm like, I don't remember there being a card shop here. So we walked in and it was maybe like a 300 count box and then like, I don't know, like a 500 count box just full of like sports and random Pokemon cards. Like regular
Yeah.
holos were like $7. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like it had no place. Pokemon had no place being there. But anyways, I digress.
They
The
got you at the
national
door.
they did, and I did not buy anything because I was just curious on it. But they did get me in the door though, so that is good, and that could have led to a sale elsewhere. So you know what? A plus advertising. We'll give them that. But I think for me, the national, and we'll dive into it a little bit. It was busy. It was popping. It was crazy. Uh, Definitely got lost. A lot better than Cleveland. I think the Chicago show 2 years ago, my opinion, still better than this one, this go around. Just in terms of, I think layout was better. I think the the vendor selection was way better, and I want to dive into that too. And
Mhm.
I think the vendors themselves 2 years ago had a better selection. Maybe not in terms of Pokemon, because obviously, 2 years ago it wasn't the force that it was. But like you said, there was a lot more Pokemon this year than there was last year. Still, a lot of Pokemon could still be at this show. But for what it is, being a more sport prevalent show, I kind of understand why they're not really focusing on that, because they don't want to be like
Right.
a Comic Con. They don't want to be Collecticon. They don't want to be like any of these big TCG shows. So, they got to find a balance. And I think, the balance that they were able to find is this year was significantly better than last year. But overall, though, I left a little dissatisfied, little
Really.
disappointed, personally.
Really.
Now, yeah, so you go on YouTube, you go on Instagram, you see all these people saying how the hobby is thriving, it's alive, it's crazy, it's roaring, it's hot, and how fun the national was. For every table, and I was gonna make a separate video about this, how case hits, unless they're numbered, are they really case hits? Ricky, how many Jaden
Right.
Daniel kabooms did we see? How many Caleb Williams or Bo Nix downtowns did we see? And they're all exasperated in price. And it's just like, we're not here to see all these expensive cars. Some people, sure. But like, I don't know, when you see one table, two tables, three tables, four, all having roughly the same thing, it
Right.
waters it down, even though they're case hits. So I'll just kind of leave it at that, and then we can kind of dive into other topics, and I can kind of express my dissatisfaction because I don't want to just kind of vomit it all at once and bore people. But I'll just kind of just leave it there. But do you think that the selection of the individual cards, kind of what I just alluded to, was good? Do you think it could have been better? Do you kind of agree with me, or maybe even disagree with me in terms of like all the cards that these people were selling were kind of all the same in a way, except your
Right.
vintage dealers. Obviously, we're not gonna touch on that.
No, I agree because that is soft. Like, I understand cases. I understand cases are hot right now because of repacks and all that, but yeah, it's just
The repacks. Oh,
everywhere, everywhere. Like at this, like how do you how do you sell a case hit like that if everyone else is selling it? Like you're gonna have to under yourself. You're gonna have to sell for cheaper. Like why should I buy from you if the guy next to you has it for cheaper?
oh, mine's centered better. Oh, mine's mint. I love that. Oh, it's mint. Oh, it'll 10. So why didn't you grade it? Why didn't
Right.
you grade it?
Like
That's why I didn't want to touch a single ungraded card at the show.
me
I
personally, if I think a card is gonna grade a 10, I'm gonna keep it and grade it.
exactly run the risk.
Right.
Because like I told you, I told Donnie that I only want to go for graded cards because A, it's easier to look up. Just in a blank, you can look up 10 cards super fast, punch in the number, scan the whatever. Whereas, and plus it's already graded. It's an 8, it's a 9, it's a 10, whatever it may
Right.
be. We know what it is. We're done. Whereas ungraded, oh, it's minty, oh, it's gonna gem, oh, it looks good, and next thing you know, you throw it under a little bit of light, and there's like this scratch going down the whole left side that you might not have seen because the lighting wasn't that good. And if the car was really that good, like you said, you're gonna grade it. And the majority of those vendors there probably work with one grader or two, so they could have gotten it graded themselves and make sure they expedited it so that's in for the national,
Right. Right.
and they didn't. So unless you trust and know the dealer, it's kind of hard to buy. If it's like a $10 car, different story. But if you're an expensive car like a Jaden Daniels case hit kaboom, that's one in every two tables at the show, then it's too much of a risk for me, especially in those higher end cards. If it comes back an 8, you're screwed. You're gonna have to crack it out, and you probably wasted a ton of money to begin with.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's why I'm not buying those cards for all. Like, if I'm getting priced out of case hits when I'm buying sports cards, then that's fine. But I only want stuff like graded.
you kind of touched upon the whole repacker thing, and we didn't kind of jot that down in our topic thread, but I kind of do want to touch upon it real quick. My God, I can everybody on the Breakers Pavilion, I swear to God, had some kind of flamethrower, kryptonite, potion, juice repack. In the VIP lounge, there was this stage off into the corner. And when people are in the VIP lounge, they're usually set up as dealers or actually eating lunch. No one was paying attention to them. And I'm sure they were live on whatever platform they were on. And all they were doing was repacks. I think there was one time I was up there, they were doing a break. And it was just repacks after repacks after repacks. It's like, you people cannot figure the difference out between gambling and collecting, because that is all that they're doing, except this time with singles. And they think that buy the single is a better notion than search for the card in the pack, which is true. But that doesn't mean to go into the whole repacker world, because now you're paying maybe double the price of the card.
Right.
Blew my mind. I can't get around that idea. And is the idea of repacks cool and fun? Sure. Especially if it's like, cheaper or more affordable or whatever. This hobby can have fun, but it's the people that exasperate it into something that is so effing annoying. I almost miss breaks. I really do. Like, I miss people complaining about breaking and spending their money on breaks.
Honestly, yeah, I hate breakers. But like at this point, I'd almost like you said, I'd almost rather breaks, because at least with breaks, it is what it is. If you pull a card, you pull a card. If you don't, then you don't. But like repackers, repackers are gonna win either way.
And it doesn't matter how they're gonna win. And I forget what the price point of this repack was in the certain one in the lounge. They pulled an Alvin Kamara mid-year veteran zebra card. Who the hell wants that? Unless you're a Saints fan, unless you're a Kamara fan.
Alvin Kamara out of $4.99.
Oh, zebra case hit. Oh,
let's go.
I don't understand, Ricky. I really don't. And you know what? It's the repackers that are driving the market to its brink.
Oh,
and we've touched upon this before. And for those that maybe don't understand this line of thinking, if you're a vendor and you have a card for $100, someone checks comps and they offer you 85%. You may not take it because you know that your favorite repacker is going to come around and buy for 90, 95, maybe even 100%, because they know that they can make 100 to 150% on the card. It's just like, it disallows other people, collectors, people like myself who have shops, or just anybody out there who buys and sells, to work with these vendors to be able to get a good price, because these vendors can just hang on to their cards. And if they don't get their sticker, that's fine, because they'll just wait for the repackers to come around and they'll just buy it up. awful. You can't do that with breaks because you have to get the product from a select amount of, companies and organizations, whether that's
Right.
direct, DA, Steel City, your local card shop, whoever. Whereas, oh my God, I'm getting a headache already just talking about this. Oh my God. But it's just, I know Whatnot's a big sponsor of the National, but we got to get rid of this Breakers Pavilion or shrink it down. It is so annoying.
It is. It
It's
really is.
it takes up valuable space. Like I was walking around the Breakers Pavilion, like probably like 20, probably like 9:40, like, so just before general admission walked in. And I'd say 80% of the breakers weren't even at their booth yet. And of course, they're not set up to sell cards. They're there to break, and they're probably not going to break at 9:30 in the morning, 9:40 in the morning. But like, at least be, I don't know, right? Maybe at least be there, get set up, have a little, talk to people like, hey, we're going to be breaking in an hour. Come join us or whatever. Or at least make, at least dress up the booth to make it look nice instead of just leaving it empty until 10 minutes before your break. My God, good God. Can you compare?
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Yeah, there was way too much corporate at this national.
And I like corporate. I think it's fun to kind of talk to them, like the corporates, like your Tops, your Paninis, your Upper Decks, your Leafs, your Graders. It's cool to talk to those people, but your just middle of the road Jeff Wilsons, your middle of the road whoever. They don't need corporate. You have a booth. Go sit at your booth and play top five at your booth, or go play buy now, sell now, whatever at your booth, or whatever. I like. I think the corporate's fine. They could get shrunk down. Like I don't mind, like there being like eBay's there. All the graders are there. Like that's all cool to kind of have a conversation and chit chat with them. But oh my God. Okay, Ricky, can you compare before I lose my mind? Can you compare? And again, we've said that it's very uncomparable, but the National and Fanatics Fest. Now that we've been to both, what what did you have a better experience at? And B, if you had to pick one to attend, why?
I feel like it's hard to compare the experience between the two, just because at Fanatics Fest we were dealing,
Mm-hmm.
and at the National we're walking around on the floor. But the overall show, I just think Fanatics Fest is better.
Interesting. Very, very
Like,
interesting.
so obviously Nationals is one big, huge card show, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But with Fanatics Fest, I feel like there are enough vendors and tables so you could feel like a big card show. And then you got all the extra stuff too.
Would you say that paying $60 at the door for Fanatics Fest is worth it for everything you're getting? Or would you rather just tell somebody, hey, pay $30, get in the door at the National with everything you're getting?
I would say, well, like I said, I didn't pay. We didn't
Well,
pay. I didn't pay.
hypothetically.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm saying, I would say it's worth it at Fanatics Fest.
Interesting.
For
I like that.
the chance to see your favorite celebrity walk in front of you, to do like the WWE entrances, to throw pitches, to it was fun. Like, people, that's something you could do all day and have fun doing.
That I agree with, and I'm glad you kind of mentioned like, oh, you can walk around and see your favorite celebrities. You could do the free giveaways at the corporates at Fanatics Fest. You could do that too at the National, sure, but like, I just think it was more fun and interactive, obviously at Fanatics Fest, because that's kind of what it's designed for compared to the National. They're just trying to acquire a customer, in my opinion, in a lot of these corporate businesses. But I think it's, again, they're both their own different animals or their own different beast. But when you're walking around the National, first of all, the National is exhausting. It's tiresome. It can be physically sore, especially on walking around that concrete all damn day.
Oh,
But like, once you've seen I think Fanatics Fest was about 300 tables, I believe, maybe
Yeah.
400, and the national being however many tables. I don't know. I have this article pulled up here that I was going to read in a little bit, but I think it said that there's 600 booths, and each booth has I think 8 or 10 tables. So let's call it a 3,000 table show. Once you walk around enough of the tables, you've seen pretty much everything. Because again, unless you're in the vintage area, which is there can be some similarities that cross paths with vintage dealers, you can only see Luka Doncic RPA so many times. You can only see Joe Burrow Prism rookies so many times, or everyone's favorite case hit kabooms, downtowns, and galore, so many times. Whereas the national, you're not spending as much time walking around. All the tables are kind of clumped together instead of group of tables, corporate Breakers Pavilion, group of tables, another group of tables, somewhere mixed in between. So the layout's just, in my opinion, way better at Fanatics Fest, and you can do more as well. And again, you're not going to see as many case hit downtowns, kabooms, finite flamethrower breaker repackers.
We haven't. I forgot about the upstairs area of the national too. That was terrible.
Awful. Oh yeah, we gotta talk. Ricky, I could not move. From screen to end to screen was like how big the pathway was in between those aisles.
If I was a dealer who was set up there, I'd be pissed.
I'd be so mad. Now, it looked like those dealers only had 2 tables each, so I'm going to assume that the price for them to set up is significantly cheaper. So you'd have to at least hope that the discounted price kind of offsets the lack of foot traffic. But whenever we were up there, it was buzzing, obviously because it's a lot tighter. But even if it was spread out, it still seemed like that there was still a good amount of people kind of walking around. But I would have hated it up there. I'd be so mad. I couldn't even. I went up there. That was it. I tried it again. I think Saturday. Walk down, walk back. When it was 10:05, I was doing it, and it was already crowded. I was like, I'm done here. I'm done.
The thing is too, they had so much space up there.
It was unbelievable how much space, and they had space on the far end. Once the row ended, they had more space further back.
Right.
So they could have made the gaps between the tables even bigger, just to kind of open it up that way.
Yeah, that was awful.
That was just poor planning.
I don't know who designed that, but
that was just absolute poor planning.
They just need to utilize that whole second floor.
A lot better. So I found this article, since we're talking about the National. The National 2025 collects 10 takeaways from Chicago. Now, I don't know about you, Ricky. I take collect with a grain of salt. I think it's a shady startup. I also think it's pretty much like CNN or the New York Times. So take it, very, very cautiously.
I'm being honest, I don't even know who that is.
Some random Joe Schmo, I forget his name. He got some mysterious $4 million loan to start it up or whatever. And he got $4 million based on nothing. When you go present a business model for a business loan, you have to have some kind of substance.
Right.
He didn't have any of that substance. So people are questioning where he got this $4 million loan from. So again, take it with a grain of salt. I breezed through it before you joined when we started. It is nothing but red roses and peaches, except one point where it's talking about the Pokemon scene, which I thoroughly disagree with what they have to say about it. All right, who's survived? Okay, yeah. Record crowds, massive sales, and packed trade nights highlighted the week, which we will talk about the trade nights in a little bit, folks. By Ben Burrows and Darren Ravel. Oh, that's the guy who's super suspicious, this guy here. August 3rd, 2025. So this came out a few days ago. All right, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. 45th National here. 10 takeaways. Still a force. The rise and improvement of Fanatics over the last 2 years has been impressive. The event has become an instant hit. Tons of people. The National remains the industry premier sports card show. However, in the massive interest this week solidified the status. General admission lines were shockingly long. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and trade nights, which we'll cover soon, were as popular as ever. Both shows have their own favorite, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Fanatics Fest has caused some collectors to question whether an old school show such as the National could be heading toward a painful death, but evidence from Chicago point towards the contrary. Ricky, I think I've said this before. I think Fanatics Fest could rival the National if it isn't already, and I think it could become a bigger hobby event than the National sooner than later. I really do. And I'm not trying to sit here and be a Fanatics fanboy or a Tops knees pleaser. Like, I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm giving you my humble opinion. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not one of those influencers being paid by Fanatics to say good things. But I do think, and I think Ricky could even probably agree with me, from the two shows, roughly a month apart, Fanatics Fest was better. All in.
As an event, yes.
As a whole event, because
right.
that's how I'm trying to look at it. What
Right.
they provided us, whether we were able to spend money or make deals or not, the event itself that they provided, I think from an unbiased perspective, if we had a 10,000-foot view or we were just a fly on the wall, I think overall it was better.
Right.
Now, maybe the National next year tries to have more interactive corporate stuff like Fanatics. Be like, oh, hey, that works great for them. So let's try to have some of these businesses do it here for us. Maybe that's a thing. But unless the National can get... Now, I know like celebrities and athletes will go up to like certain booths and, kind of show their face there. Like I know Panini had some of their exclusive guys. eBay had Gronk for a little bit. But like, unless they can get like a Wemby or whoever, pick anybody to walk around. I guess not Wemby because he's a Fanatics guy. If they can have Luka, who's a Panini guy, walk around the show, it's going to be tough to beat, because if you're just kind of walking around Fanatics Fest and you bump into Jaden Daniels, they're like, oh, hey, Jaden, I'm open. Like, you're going to try to have some fun.
Yeah, I mean, the National had like all those guys signing autographs and all that stuff, but like you said, they weren't walking the show. They were just signing and leaving.
Mm-hmm. So, second point here, and Ricky, you kind of mentioned this. PSA remains king, and what you mentioned was the number of PSA grade things that they grade at the National. Lines to get PSA cards graded by PSA were long. According to PSA, roughly 10,000 cards and tickets were submitted for on-site grading by early Sunday, with an increase of 30% year over year. The PSA vault saw a more than 400% increase in submissions by Sunday than it did the end of 2024. Well, the end of the show in 2024. Those items are estimated to have a value of over $18 million. Post-grading show was also a massive hit with 60,000 items submitted as of early Sunday. That total is up 70% from 2024. And you even mentioned, we'll get into that in a second, you even mentioned this year, over 10,000 cards and tickets graded by PSA at the National. You know what's funny? Completely irrelevant. SGC wasn't grading on-site grading at the National.
Really?
CGC was, Beckett was, PSA was. SGC wasn't. I have an article about that in a second right here. We'll get into that. But I didn't see no Arena Club. I didn't see no Tag. I didn't see no whoever else thinks that they're graders. So
yeah, I think maybe we'll probably talk about it more after the article, but SGC is dying.
I just want to see if they have like a... This is very dangerous that I have the screen playing. Okay. See all prices. Come on. So on-site grading was $150 for the end of show. That has been significantly better, in my opinion, I think, in years past. It might have been like $250 for the end of show in years prior. So if you pull that good card, $150, max declared value, $2,500, end of show. It's not too bad. Not too bad. All right. Thriving dealers. This I kind of disagree with. Many vendors who spoke with Collect throughout the show reported extremely positive results. Just Collect's Leighton Sheldon reported buying a near complete T206 set that he expected to be a tough but worthwhile flip. It sold Saturday afternoon. Impressive. We thought it was a long shot. We could sell it. Sheldon told Collect we probably could have sold it 2 or 3 sets. Okay. Company sold 45 autographed Taylor Swift collectibles. That is irrelevant. Despite their ability to easily move in inventory, some dealers express concern current market is too good to be true. Unlike the last trading card boom, which arrived alongside COVID-19, the driver of the current run-up is far less clear. Despite the I think moving inventory, I think is easier for a lot of vendors nowadays, and it's a lot harder for average people to acquire. The industry's growing reliance on repacks and mystery boxes have helped drive secondary market prices, aka illegal gambling. But that could be the next bubble to pop. Hopefully, repacks and mystery boxes were as prevalent as ever in Chicago. Oh wow, it's like we talked about this. It's hard to see the trend slowing down, even when high-end auction houses such as Sotheby's are entering the space. It's gonna pop, Ricky. The bubble always pops.
I really hope so.
And you look at Jeff Wilson and PSA doing their graded, whatever the hell it's called.
That was so stupid. That's
certified
so
by
stupid.
PSA.
That made me so mad.
Okay, like no matter how we feel about PSA, everybody knows that PSA can't be trusted in terms of their like declared value or their lack of transparency or their customer service. It's extremely tough to trust PSA. But now we're supposed to trust them that they put together a good, transparent, and accurate valued repack product. No thanks.
I think I mentioned this last time. Like, I just want to know how they're acquiring those cards. Like, is it their own cards that they are grading? Because if they do that, then that's shady. Because then they're giving their own cards 10s and putting them in the repacks. Yep. Or are they off buying them?
Like David Adams had two booths at the National. One was for all their sealed product, and then another was to buy and sell cards. It's like, I understand that they have a shop in Buffalo where they do have singles and boxes along with a bunch of other stuff. Just either put it all at one booth or just stick to one, which is probably should be the sealed products. So it's just like, oh my good God. Crap, where was I going with that thought though? I don't know. Anyways, Oddball Pavilion. Oh, I like that. It's not the Breakers Pavilion, Ricky. It's the Oddball Pavilion. That's a good one. Breaking remains one of the most popular businesses in the hobby, and some of the biggest faces in the space have even become quasi-celebrities when roaming card shows. You know who I didn't see at the National, Ricky?
Who?
Somebody from Backyard Breaks. Unless he was there and I just didn't see him. Mr. Grant. Was he there?
Oh, I don't know.
I didn't see him.
They allowed kids there, so probably not.
It's almost like he shouldn't be in the hobby to begin with, right, after what he said. And you're right, there are a lot of kids at the National, and I did not see him. I didn't even hear one word about him. It's almost like this was what he said months ago about a hypothetical young daughter. Never even happened. And I'm not going to sit here and say it again, but we all know what he said. It's just like it was brushed under the rug, Ricky. Unbelievable.
No,
unbelievable. The Breakers Pavilion at the National is big and it's loud, but it also feels a little out of place. Agreed. It's in the middle. Put it in the corner or something so I know not to go over there instead of having to walk through it. The area is distinctive from the rest of the show, but it is not necessarily a good thing. Finally, we agree. Some collectors have been captivated by seeing the process close up. They're just opening boxes. We all do it. But many who collect spoke with felt the area seemed odd and didn't match the rest of the show. Sure, sports fans will line up and wait for hours to see College Game Day in person, but the breaking industry simply hasn't reached that level of fandom yet. We cannot compare Game Day to breaking. We cannot do that. That was annoying. But I kind of see where he's going with it. Put it in the corner. Put it in the corner far away from everything else.
Or even have it upstairs.
That would be fantastic. That you could just dedicate the entirety of upstairs.
Right. Like they could have a section, and then if people want to go watch some breaks, go upstairs.
Wow. What a great call. What a great call. That's wow. Okay.
Like
that's so smart. That's unbelievably
Could easily
unbelievably
be its
smart.
own section upstairs.
Yep. Wow. And like just to I guess to play just be on the other side of things, like, oh, we want people to walk through it, so they have to be exposed to it and be immersed into it, whether they like it or not.
Oh yeah,
That's just leaving like a sour taste in like, your
you
attendees like
always
mouth.
yeah.
More
It's
space
always
needed.
the it's always the business versus the emotional side.
It's all about numbers, Ricky. It's all about the numbers.
Yeah.
The convention center utilized more space than ever for this year's show, but seemed too packed for the first floor or on the first floor. No, the National hasn't outgrown the city of Chicago yet, which I hope it never does.
I know.
Is almost certainly outgrown last year's venue in Cleveland. Well, last year outgrew Cleveland. But it's clear the venue will need to stretch its available space even further in 2026 and beyond. The second floor of the convention center, which housed first-time dealers in a large area dedicated to private memorabilia signings through TriStar, had a significant amount of unused space that could have been used. Wow, it's like we just talked about it. The area for first-time dealers was far too small, and a significant portion of the space opposite that area was left empty. More
Mhm.
space will be needed moving forward, but the venue in Rosemont should be able to comfortably expand if planned properly.
I agree.
I agree. I planned properly, Ricky. Can you trust them to plan it properly?
Upstairs could have been used so much better.
Even if they put the corporate up there or the breaker pavilion up there and they just had the whole first floor to vendors, if I don't care about the corporate or the vendors, then as an attendee, I don't have to go up there. Because I'm
Right.
sure 75-year-old collector's been collecting for 50 something years, who knows more about the hobby than Jeff ever will, doesn't have to go through the corporate or the Breakers Pavilion. He can just walk through his little vintage village and put around to the tables. Simple. Better food. Yes, I'm not even going to touch upon that a lot because, yes, the food was significantly better. Some collectors balked when a map of the venue showed 50 of the more than 600 dealers plan to have TCG and non-sports cards of some kind. Oh, so this is where I got the 600 number from because I saw this quickly. 600 dealers planned to have TCG and non-sports cards, but only 50 of them actually did. Interesting. Interesting. That number seemed large, but it wasn't felt on the show floor in an intangible way. Would you agree with that, Ricky? You'd say 50 vendors had TCG and non-sports?
Uh,
I don't know if it would be exactly 50, but I would say it's definitely closer to 50 than it's closer to 12. Like I counted 12 Pokemon tables last year. And I think
yeah.
whether we like Magic or not, whether we like whatever or not, One Piece or not, I still think that there was probably, again, closer to 50 than there wasn't.
Yeah. I'd
Um,
say about.
the National is dominated by sports cards because it is a sports collectors convention. And any fear that the TCG community would take over the hobby's biggest show can be put on hold for another year. I don't think it ever will be because a lot of those TCG heavy vendors save up for Collecticon or other big TCG
Right.
shows, Comic Con, whatever. So I just because I think there was another show going to be in Chicago like 2 weeks. Some Anime Con, I think it was. There was some kind of show happening at the convention center. Like I think like the week before, I think like next week. Anyways, if they're gonna set up at a show, the National or that show, if they have TCG, I would think that they would probably favor this other show
Right.
because it's going
Right.
to be more TCG centric. Awkward Inc. I could really care less about the autograph signing. Trade nights are red hot. Oh, this will be fun. Organized trade nights were bigger than ever. Unorganized events at hotels and restaurants were bigger than ever too. The passion and interest for these types of events is strong, and the National did a good job keeping collectors on site with dedicated rooms Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Plus, there were numerous events at surrounding hotels. Trade nights have become so popular, in fact, that the National might have run into a good problem to have. The dedicated spaces were considered a little too small, resulting in long lines after collectors already had long days. The trade events themselves have become nearly as popular as the show itself, and the next step for organizers likely includes finding a solution for the scope. More themed events could help break up the cumbersome crowds and possibly get even more collectors involved. The key will be keeping the event unique in spirit to the show itself. It's not even a trade night, Ricky. It's just an extension of the show with dealers. I know I'm sure you probably seen some of them, but every time I was in the VIP lounge, and I went to trade night once on Thursday or Friday. I think it was Thursday. All they did was just open their case, throw the cards out on the table, and they were just set up. No trading. Are you selling that? Are you selling that? Are you selling that? Awful.
Like,
Awful.
It's
That's not the
actually
national problem.
It's all actually almost kind of ridiculous.
Like, people were bringing display cases to the trade night. People had little pop-up banners, like little 12-inch banners that said "We are buying" or whatever it said. And it's just people had the computers out to look up comps and price things out. It's like, again, this isn't a national problem. This is a vendor problem or a collector problem. Who pick somebody else other than the national, because this is not their problem. It's not even, no one was trading. Hey, I have this card here worth $50. I like that card there worth $50. Let's trade. Oh no, I'm only selling. Oh no, I'm only buying.
And they were pricing it like they had to pay.
Yes.
For a table at the national.
Yes.
No one was giving deals. Like everyone wants 100% comps, like they're paying for a table at the national.
One guy told me that he would give me the card for 95% to cover his costs.
Of what?
I was like, I literally asked him, I'm like, what cost do you have? You have no overhead. And he like mumbled like under his breath. He's like, do you want it or not? I'm like, I'm all set. I'm good. I'm good. And then there's like there's another guy who gave me like 88%. There's another one that did like 80 and 85. So like, what cost do you guys have?
Right. Like the hotel and stuff or whatever. Sure. But
we're all paying for a hotel.
Right.
We're all paying to get into the show. The majority of us are paying some form of travel expense. So if anything, it all equals out and it all balances out. You have no overhead, no electricity bill to pay for this week. No whatever. I just, trade nights are not red hot. Sheer footprint, or I'm sorry, I should say sheer attendance maybe is, but the actual trade night concept itself is not.
And again, everyone had the same thing at the trade nights.
Same thing. How many tables did I see only have case hits, downtowns, and kabooms? There's like, this guy had 12 kabooms and then another 10 downtowns. It's like you're sucking the pulp of the case hit aura right off the card because you have it and you have it, but you're $20 more. So if I want it, I'll just go buy it from him.
Right. Like at some point, people are going to get tired of these case hits. Hopefully.
Especially if they're not numbered. Like if they're like, I think I posted a picture on my story. It was like the Jalen Hurts 1/1 superfractor rookie downtown, whatever it was. And the guy was asking, he was asking 80,000. I'm like, so how'd you come out with 80,000? He was like, oh, the Bo Nix did like 60. I'm like, okay. I understand where you're getting your number from, and I'm not going to argue with you because it's your card and you can whatever. And I think that's a fair kind of percentage difference. But $80,000 for sure, it's a 1/1. Sure, it's a 10. For a card that's not even autographed or a patch, like I'll just take the regular downtown and call it a day if I really want to.
Right.
It just, oh my god, the magic of case hits is almost non-existent. It really is almost. Let me finish this and then I'll give my mouth a break. It was great to see the national add dedicated space for vendors selling for the first time. The waitlist to attend the show as a dealer is long and has been a frustrating experience for many. Letting new sellers in will be a key for the show moving forward. My brother asked if I wanted to set up at the national, and I don't think I could. Through the event, added new vendors. It still suffers from dealers who have attended for decades, but add a little value to the show. They know who they are and show up year after year with poor inventory, bad attitudes, and even worse pricing. That is so funny. It is true. A lot of those vendors are grandfathered in and they will be there year after year. But I want to know, you go to the middle of Vintage Village, there's like a little tote full of 1920s baseball gloves, then like some posters from the 30s. It's like, how much are you guys really selling? That's what I really want to know. How much are you guys really selling? It's hard to call for these vendors to be ejected from the event, but it's also hard to ignore when a not insignificant number of sellers don't have much interest in selling anything. Funny.
Very
I
true.
saw maybe half
Very
a
true.
dozen vendors have signs on their cards saying not for sale. And my brother kept saying, why put it out? So stupid. Just show and
Just
tell.
to show off.
Show and tell. The second floor dedicated. Yeah, that's great. Cool. Okay. So there's your 10 takeaways from the National. Where did that go? Oh, stop sharing. So before we pivot to talking about grading reports or SGC or any other topics we have, what are your final takeaways? What are your outgoing takes on the National?
Final takes. I do. See, it's hard to say that there's too many vintage vendors because a lot of the people who go to the National are there for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like, I mean, they gotta cater to the market. They gotta cater to the market, and I just think, like, I mean, I just walk right by the vintage. I have really no interest in it. I'm speaking for myself, but yeah, they take up too much space. The breakers take up too much space. And in that article, that I think they brought up a good point that I didn't really think of. It was like when they said that people are lining up for hours to watch game day. No one's really stopping to watch the breaks.
Yeah.
Their only audience are who's watching on whatnot.
And a lot of those viewers are probably at the National themselves.
Right. So it's like, unless they go berserk for a veteran at a $2.99 insert, no one's really paying attention to them.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. Poor space, older vendors. I mean, got to keep up with the times. I mean, I look at it this way. The National's been around for 45 years, a completed 45 years now. And whether it's through the junk wax era or the steroid era in baseball or market crashes, in 08, 09 to pandemics, it's been around. It's been kicking. It's still popular. I feel like the National is a little too smart to be jumping on certain trends. Maybe that's more just the vendors being older and they could care less about current trends.
Right.
But even if they stay away from these trends, it could be better in the long term to kind of help deter these repackers and these mystery boxers and breakers, maybe kind of push them away, or these in it for a minute weekend guys for push them away. But I do agree with you though. I do walk right past the vintage stuff. Every once in a while, I'll take a peek and just kind of admire it. Cool stuff. That's crazy how far we've come in all 100 years, stuff like that. But never once am I interested in buying anything.
Right.
And again, it kind of goes back to my original question: how many of those vintage deals are breaking even, all expenses included, hotel, flights, travel, whatever, food?
So the same dealers will be like, I don't care about comps. My price is my price.
All the power to them.
That's
like,
fine. Your price is your price, but your price is going to remain
that way for a while.
For years.
So, like, it's funny, like, if somebody says that to me, specifically an older gentleman, and he's nice about it, I won't get mad because you're right. Your price is your price. If you don't want to move, you are completely entitled to it. But like, just don't be like a crap head about it. Just be like, hey, you know what? Okay, that's cool, but my price is this.
Right.
I'll sell it for say like 10% less. Whatever that number is. Like that's probably best that I could do. If you don't like it, I understand, but I don't want to. Okay, sure. Like it just like. And again, this is a honus on the I almost said honus on the Wagners. Wow, this is a honus on the vendors too. Is you need to be nice. Obviously, the attendees need to be nice, but my takeaway, Ricky, I just don't think that the National was as successful as people are telling others. These influencers are telling you how great it was, how alive it is, how hot it is, the hobby. I personally don't see it. I hope I'm wrong.
I think that has to do more with the collectors and all that who show up than the show itself.
That's a good point. Like, are they gauging their take? Like, oh, the hobby is so alive right now just based on foot traffic? Like, if that's the case, then yeah, sure. Like, it's crazy right now. Like, it's never been better. But like, how about the actual economy of the hobby? How about the actual enjoyment level of the hobby? How about the actual communication or the transparency or the actual deals being made, stuff like that? Like, I just don't see it. I do not see it. All right.
Yeah.
Crazy times, Ricky. Crazy times. Where is
definitely interesting.
Indeed it is. And here is our July 2025 grading report. PSA again leading the way with 1.67 million item graded. I am curious if anything from the Nationals factored into that. Maybe it's like its own separate boat until they get back to the facility, and then maybe they update it. So then maybe August report will kind of reflect the National. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're up 17% from last month. They're up 31% from last year. CGC, a huge gap between them and third for its SGC or Beckett. They are down 7% from last month. That's fine. I think that's pennies on the dollar, but up 110% from last year, which is crazy. And you look at Beckett down the bottom. Beckett's kicking. They're look at that. Up 20%, up 37%.
Still got a little life.
Yeah, they look. I remember we saw one of these things and it was like 18,000 items graded one month. And now it's like up 75,000. In the middle of summer with no football, half of these collectors don't care about baseball. Basketball's long over. Hockey's over. What are they grading? But hey, 75,000 items. It's a big improvement. And then we have other graders here for 49.2 thousand cards graded by tag. That's up 32% from last month and up 137% from last year. And Arena Club is at 5.8 thousand cards, up 20% from June and down 56% from last year.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, big drop. Total 2.3 million cards graded in July, up roughly 215,000 compared to June. What's that?
That's so crazy.
What is?
Just to think about 2.3 million graded cards coming into circulation just for the month.
I agree. Oh, here's a little note right here. There were 22 business days in July of 2025, 20 business days in June of 2025, and 22 business days in July of 2024. Interesting. Yeah, because a lot of people do kind of forget what a business day is, but that's okay.
Right.
And then if we just kind of look at sports and miscellaneous, SGC crumbling down, -4, -22%. CGC up 73% from last year. Beckett up 10% from last year. That's a little question. Question mark, excuse me. And then if we look at TCG and non-sport, again, CGC still, right in the complete second place, up 115 from last year, down -7, whatever that percentage is going to be, like 27,000.
Whoever's grading Pokemon with SGC deserves a bad grade.
I just don't understand. I have this Alakazam in a SGC 10 that I got for super cheap in a deal, and I cannot get rid of it to save my life. I'm gonna have to crack it.
Yeah,
I can't.
At this point, I would.
I think I've had this card for over a year. I think, and it was priced. I think at the time, like a PSA 10 was maybe like 200. I had it tagged for like 150. I'm like, please, somebody take this. Beckett up 37, up 62% from month to year. Pretty good for a company that we were just sitting here not too long ago saying that they were dying off. All the power to
Yeah,
them.
people searching for that black label.
Indeed, they are. And I guess that's going to bring me to this article here about SGC. SGC to transition to boutique grading brand as president resigns. So for those that don't know, SGC's president, Peter Steinberg, has resigned from his role. And if those don't remember, what was it, 18 months ago, give or take? Collectors, the company that owns PSA, bought SGC. So in theory, PSA owns SGC. In theory. I remember sitting here saying that in soon time, SGC will be completely irrelevant. It seems to be that will be the case moving forward. Because I don't know about you, Ricky. I don't know what the hell boutique grading means.
Yeah, I don't know what they mean by that.
Like when I think of boutique clothing, I'm thinking of like something European. I'm thinking something maybe old school, something you don't see every day, something you're not going to wear every day, something that's like, one of those like sunflower hats. I don't know. I don't know how a boutique grader. What the hell does that mean? So let's read the article.
Did they say that themselves, or is that someone's opinion?
I think they said that themselves.
Oh yeah,
Read that story by Collect. Hold on, let me see if the actual article can come up on. Oh no, that just brings me to the website. All right, I'll just read the article and we'll see where it goes. SGC president Peter Steinberg has resigned from his role amid plans for the card grader to scale down operations from a major authenticator to a boutique brand. Scale down. People know what that means? That means they're dialing it back. They're not going to be grading as much. Probably why they weren't grading at the National, because of all the costs that would have taken to bring all the equipment down and to do it. Probably because PSA is either shutting them down or because they are not making enough funds.
Right.
Steinberg announced his resignation in a post to social media Thursday morning. Quote, effective immediately, I've made the difficult decision to resign from my position at SGC. Steinberg wrote on SGC's X account. As you can imagine, this decision was not made lightly, as my time as SGC has been the most rewarding chapter of my life. Quote, however, I feel that now is the right time and I have full confidence in our outstanding team moving forward, end quote. News of Steinberger's resignation comes alongside new plans for the company described by PSA President Ryan Hoge in an interview with Rob DeMay on the NEO Cards and Comics YouTube channel. SGC was acquired by PSA parent company Collectors in February 2024, literally 18 months ago. At the time of the acquisition, SGC and PSA plan to continue operating as separate brands with some shared resources. What if I told you, Ricky, that GMC, that makes Chevy, that obviously makes GMC, was to buy Ford, but will operate as separate identities? Chevy will still have the Camaro, Ford will still have the Mustang, but GMC will just own Ford. That doesn't work. That doesn't make sense. The company Ford, and in this case, SGC, will dissolve over time. According to Hoge, SGC struggled to scale following the acquisition without a significant amount of investment in capital and technology. Collectors in PSA, following the acquisition by now CEO Nat Turner and his investment group in 2021, received millions in capital to expand operations. The investment helped scale the business, according to Hoge, from grading roughly 15,000, 18,000 cards per day, closer to 80,000 cards per day. That's crazy.
And that's not even, is that just business days too, or is that like?
I'm going to assume it's business days. The investment helped scale the business. Okay, hold on. Collectors and PSA, following the acquisition and his investment group, received millions. Okay, yeah. So that is why PSA is able to grade 1.67 million cards a month, because they had all that money in investment to grade 80,000
business
cards.
days a month.
Holy crap.
That's about 80,000 a day.
Hold on. I want to try to do this math. with a 1.6 million divided by 80,000 cards. That
20.
is roughly 20.875. So call it 21 business days. Wow. That's why they're the only one that's grading millions. But, Ricky, the turnaround times are still forever. Make this make sense. How are you grading 8,000 cards, but you're still taking anywhere from 2 to 6 months to return cards?
Because people are still sending in 50-year base cards.
Still sending in junk, and you're getting 8s on it. Quote, both Peter and I agreed it did not make sense for us to duplicate that investment to have another mega scale card grading brand. Hoagie said SGC is awesome, but SGC is awesome at what they do, including vintage, including affordability, fast grading, and we want to keep that at the ethos and the core of what SGC is going forward. There you have it. There's the definition of boutique. Is they're awesome. Great. It includes great vintage, affordable, and fast turnaround times. That's what they're going for here. So collectors and SGC is not going to get the same investment that PSA received. So they bought SGC and did not feed them the capital that they needed. So say it for how you want, say, but I think SGC got done dirty. I do.
That just sounds like they were just trying to get rid of competition.
I don't know what the number was on the sale, but I mean, I'm sure it wasn't crazy money. Let's see. I'm gonna ask Gemini because Gemini is a better tool. How much did collectors pay for SGC grading? Let's find out. Oh, I hope it's not gonna be like, oh, it's $10 a card. Ah, shoot, it is. How much did the collectors ownership group who own PSA pay for SGC grading?
If they're grading,
this isn't going to work either.
If they're grading 80,000 cards a day, and let's say the cheapest way to grade is $20, they're making $1.6 million a day.
That just like almost makes you want to like kind of vomit a little bit. A day.
Like that's
before upcharges. Before any upcharges.
That's the cheapest way of. That's what the cheapest way to grade.
Is it me or did I just get a migraine? Oh my god. A specific dollar amount for the purchase was not publicly disclosed at the time of the sale, so we'll never know. Oh my god.
That's insane.
Collectors noticed. Here's a hypothetical. Collectors noticed that SGC was on the up and up because when we were looking at the grading reports, SGC was second for a really good while. Second, third, depending on the month. Yeah. They noticed that a rival competition based on that affordability, quick turnaround time. They're like, let's just buy it off, pretend that we care. See you later. Wow.
Yeah. That's what they did. They just bought out the competition and killed it.
If Ford ever gets approached by GMC, don't answer the phone. We know how that conversation will go. Okay, we decided we want to right size it, shrink in a little bit, have it go back to the pre-insanity of the COVID spike levels, maybe back to the 2017, 18, 19 levels of SGC, and position it more as kind of a boutique grading brand that's still there to serve customers for both modern and vintage. We can all say that the COVID spike is what helped SGC grow and become a massive powerhouse.
Yeah, wait. They said they want to be back to where they were.
Shrink in a little bit, have it go back to the pre-insanity of the COVID spike levels. Maybe back to the 2017, 18 levels.
Why would they want that?
Who's saying this quote? It does not. Both Peter and I. Whose eye? Is that Nat Turner? Is that Nat Turner speaking? But if he's CEO of PSA, I don't know.
Are they trying to just like? I don't understand that.
I just
Do they
so
want it to be like more special and not as diluted? Be like, oh, this is an SGC graded card.
oh, you don't see it all every day, so that's why it's going to be 10% more than Beckett or CGC or PSA even, because this is a boutique grader. This is like Ferragamo here. You got some Coach. Like this one's better.
Yeah,
All right.
I don't
According to
understand.
third-party grading tracker GemRate, whoa, PSA graded 8.89 million items in the first 6 months of 2025, which we did go over that report. For an increase of 18% year over year, SGC graded roughly 962,000 items over that same time frame for a 3% increase year over year. Hoagie told DeMay discussions of SGC's future began earlier this year, and the transition has been a work of progress for months. According to Hoagie, Hoge, I'm just calling him Hoagie, a significant amount of SGC staff will shift to work with PSA. Wow, told you that one. The company will also utilize SGC's Boca Raton, oh my God, Florida location to help supplement PSA's grading efforts. Might as well throw a PSA label on it, Ricky. Might as well. Boca Raton. Yeah, Boca Raton. And there you have it. SGC is owned, operated, and staffed by PSA, except those PSA workers are putting a different label and a different holder around your card. That's literally what it's come down to. For good or for bad. Wow. I did not expect I'm glad we read into this. This was good. This was any takeaways? I mean, how do you feel about SGC now? If you had I know you don't do vintage, but let's say you had some vintage cards laying around, sports cards specifically, or you wanted to capitalize on their $11 grading fee or whatever some of those specials are that they run. Are they even a thought? Or are you just going to screw it?
Haven't looked, obviously, because I'm not into it, but I haven't looked at vintage prices compared SGC versus PSA. It used to be forever that SGC was a little premium because they like, the Tux, and that was SGC's specialty where they really came onto the scene as a vintage grader. I don't, like I said, I don't know what the case is now, but just by going with what I know, I want my vintage in the SGC.
If they were to come out and say, SGC, we're transitioning to solely do vintage cards from 1980 and before, pick whatever time frame you want. And then obviously, every year that passes will, allow a new year. So, 81 next year, 82 the year after that, and so on to stay within that, whatever they define as a vintage window or a vintage cutoff. I can probably get my head around that. And then for them saying that's a boutique grader, okay. Because it allows these other companies, Beckett, PSA, CGC, to kind of run around for competition in terms of Pokemon, sports, ultra modern, case hits, downtowns, kabooms, RPAs, and all that fun stuff. But hey, you got vintage cards? We're your guys. We're the company that should, because you're right. A lot of vintage collectors do like SGC for the black tuxedo look. It makes the faded color of those cards just pop with the all black compared to some of the other competitors. But I mean, they're just like, hey, we're still gonna do vintage and modern, but we're gonna be a boutique grader. So like when you see our slabs, know that it's not really a thing anymore. It's pretty much BCCG at this point. You'll find in those Walmart mystery boxes.
Right.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, February last year, we knew that this was gonna happen. That PSA would eventually run SGC into the ground because there's no need in running two major grading companies. There just isn't a need unless you want to take out the competition. And that is exactly what they did. All right. Do have one more topic that I do want to poke at. and that is, if I can get it. So this is a actual video. It doesn't really matter about the video, but it was Alt saying that they handed out. I thought it was 5 million, but in this video it's 4.8. Call it 5 million for the sake of argument. So my question to you, Ricky, is how do we feel about this company, Alt, being a pseudo, I don't want to call it a bank, but a liquidity center, I think is a great way to call it. Yes, there we go. They're basically a pawn shop for your trading cards. You got a lot of cards that you haven't been able to sell, bring them graded cards, because that's all they do is graded. Bring them to them. They'll offer you up to 70%. I've typically seen anywhere from 60 to 70% of whatever the market value is, which they'll kind of figure out based off of their database. You like the offer, you accept it, you get that cash advance. If it's in person at a show, you'll get physical cash. If it's through like their app, because you did it online, you had to ship it to them, you'll get it in your account. And then whatever the card sells for, you'll get the difference. So for an example, for people that don't know, let's say you have a $100 card. We all agree that it's a $100 card. They'll give you 70% up front, so you get $70. Let's say the card sells for the $100 on their website. You'll get the difference of, I don't know what their fees are, but I think it's super low. Let's just say it's like 5%. So you'll get the difference and you'll walk away with an extra $25. So you walk away with $95 in total for a $100 card. That's pretty much their premise in a vacuum. But they handed out $5 million in cash at the National. Who is buying $5 million worth of cards at the National? All those people that are paying 95% comps, and the kids are walking away from 95% comps. I think this is great for the hobby. I really do. As long as they can turn and burn these cards. They just need to be able to keep doing it and doing it and doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they're doing well. They're growing for sure. That seems like a good service that people would like too. Cash advance gives you an opportunity to buy some more cards and hopefully make even more on the ones that you sold later. So I haven't used them yet, but
what is this? Oh, that's just their cards. Yeah, I think it's a good service, kind of like what you just said. Instead of having to settle for 60, 70% from a vendor, you can just settle for 60, 70% with Alt, with the potential to make the difference, for whatever the card sells. I think it's a win-win. Again, the Alt needs to be able to turn and burn these cards. It seems like that they have, Gold Kaboom Mahomes here, RPA and a 1-of-1 Josh Allen, Ichiro rookie, Pokemon, obviously, Jaden Dan. So it's like their platform is offering heaters. So it's not like it's just straight junk. You could probably still send them junk if you really wanted to. And I've seen countless times highest sale for a Mahomes card in 6 months, or this card was bought 9 months ago and just doubled, with this most recent sale. So it's a platform that's bringing in big numbers for cards. Right. It's not like this random auction house that's not getting a lot of eyes. Of course, when we think of selling cards, a lot of people think of selling on eBay because the most eyes. But Alt is right there in terms of, being the house for buying and selling cards. And then for the record, here's the top risers. Warming, burnable. Burn it, turn and burn. Top risers, Nick Kurtz, no surprise.
Mew just dropped.
This Mew. Some Pokemon in here, so yeah. Al Kaline out of nowhere. And then, yeah, Eevee just tanking like crazy.
Oh, Eevee.
So yeah, that is I think gonna wrap it up for today's episode, Ricky. Is there anything that we missed or anything else you want to talk about?
I think we talked about it. That was good.
Yeah, I think we had a killer episode today as well. Talking about a variety of different things from the National, kind of drawn back to Fanatics Fest, grading, buying and selling cards. I think it was a good episode all around. Very, very excited for our next one, which there might be a scheduling issue. Yeah, I'll be in Anaheim for the West Coast Card Show. So we might need to record beforehand so I can have
We'll
it come
figure
out
it
that
out.
day. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll let you guys know. But Ricky, as we wrap up today's episode, as always, do you have any outgoing thoughts that you would like to express?
Still buying the boy, James Wood.
Stud.
Uh,
Except the team sucks. Give him time, though. Give him time.
It's not
Give him
his fault. Not his fault. Yeah, I mean, just I want to say something about like the people at trade night, but I don't know what to say
in like
I
a
don't
good way, a bad way.
that way.
I mean, I could jump the gun and be like, trade night should be for actual trading. If you need to throw in cash to kind of make ends meet, fine. Nobody was trading though.
If you want to set up at a show.
That's
Like that was just they were being obnoxious. They took up whole spaces for their cards where people could have been trading and all that stuff, but they just had their cards like laid out on the table. Like if you're gonna show off your cards, just put it in the Zion case and let people go through it. Why do you have to have it all spread out, taking people's?
I couldn't find a table for lunch one day. I think it was like Friday because so many people had their cards laid out. It's like all I need is like a little space to eat my burger,
Right.
and I'm good. But meanwhile, you have cards spread out across the whole 6 foot, 8 foot round table, whatever it is. And it's just like I might put my cards right on your burger and just start eating. Like it almost got to that point.
Like it's obnoxious.
It's and then of course, there's people in the lobby and people were in line to get the trade night wristbands set up on cards on the table, cards spread out on the floor. And it's just like people will take advantage of any second they get to try to sell cards. Go to alt or post them on eBay.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'd share my frustration with trade night with you. I guess that's my outgoing take as well. If you're going to a trade night, be actually open to trading. You don't have any overhead. Go there, try to have fun. I guess I'll also kind of insert this. I personally don't think the hobby's in a great spot as much as other people do. I think I've kind of expressed that. If there's any confusion on my stance or people want more clarification on kind of my thoughts and experience, I'm more than happy to make a separate video about it. But unless you were physically there, take what these influencers said with a grain of salt, because all they're going to show you is the good times and the successful sales that they had or the successful deals that they had. Because again, in reality, it could have been a lot better. The toxicity levels are still pretty high. And my God, get rid of the Breakers Pavilion. That is going to wrap it up for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. Please smash the thumbs up button, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you're new or haven't considered subscribing. Check out the channel membership program. I would definitely appreciate your love and support. I'm going to have a video over Ricky's face right there. That is going to be awesome for your hobby endeavors. Hopefully you guys click on that and I'll see you in that video. Bye.